Hello everybody and welcome to Forever Cricket on Forever Sports. And South Africa have just lost the third T20 international against Pakistan, going down in the series 2-1 in a terrible performance, an absolute shocking of a performance. Just 24 hours after what was a really positive fight back, a really good performance. And then to put on a demonstration today, which if it wasn't for Dave Miller and Tabari Shamsi would have been an absolute embarrassment of a performance. I mean, really cannot actually understand how in 24 hours you can go from playing such solid, good cricket to playing like we did today. It was actually unbelievable. To think that South Africa at one stage was 65 for 7. 65 for 7 in a T20 international is absolutely unforgivable. Before we break down the match, please do subscribe to the channel. Smash like on the video as well. As Proteas fans, we don't have much to celebrate, so at least you can support by hitting the like button and subscribing. Right, losing the toss and being put into bat. The first time we were going to be setting a total. And Yanam Milan looked fairly solid, 27 runs off 17, a strike rate of 158. A nice, good performance up front from him. And done by leg spin. Shock and horror. What has this entire tour shown us? South Africa can't play spin. We know this. I don't understand how we can still be so poor against spin. Reza Hendricks, 2 runs off 5. Bowled Muhammad as well. I mean, JJ Smuts, you've got to wonder what was going through his head. You know, we had lost. We could try and just, he hadn't scored a lot of runs yesterday. To go like that was a little bit irresponsible. Pite van Binyon looked positive, 16 off 11, looked solid, and then he was bowled. And then, I'm sorry, Heinrich Klaassen, just not good enough. To play that shot in this situation is unforgivable. Same as Ndile Petlakwayo. 2 ducks for them. To get caught sweeping towards that boundary when you are, I mean, you can't even comprehend. At the time, I mean, Ndile Petlakwayo walked in at 46 for 4, and you're going to play a shot like that. Dwayne Pretorius does well, hits a 6, cool, and then tries to sweep and gets bowled. It was actually unbelievable how poor South Africa were. Thankfully, enter Dave Miller, who played an absolutely sensational innings. He had 85 runs off 45 deliveries, a strike rate of 188, including 24 in the last over, to give South Africa a first innings total of 164. Something to actually bowl at. He was supported by Bjorn Fontaine, who took 10 of 12, and Lucas Pamela 8 of 10. What was very impressive about Dave Miller was how he managed to find the strike and be able to get himself on strike to ensure that he had the opportunity to go on and really chase the bowlers. For Pakistan, Zahid Mahmood, 3 wickets, 10 runs. Hassan Ali, 2 wickets. Mohammad Nawaz, 2 wickets as well. And Usman Khadir, 1 wicket. So, 164. It's not the easiest run chase, but something to actually bowl at. And Rizwan got off to a really good start, as he has been fantastic all tournament. 42 of 30, another really good innings from him. He's playing phenomenal cricket at the moment. Haider Ali, 15 of 30, and then Baba Azam, who hadn't come off in the first T20, was typically probably going to come off today. And he almost did. 44 of 30, strike rate of 146, looked really solid. And then into Tabari Shamsi just completely took Pakistan apart. 4 wickets for 25 runs, 4 overs, an economy of 6.25. You cannot ask for more from your leg spinner. What you can do is ask for support from your seamers. And we had gotten ourselves into a decent situation where suddenly the game had changed. They looked really comfortable, but we clawed our way back through some decent bowling. And you look at Bjorn Fontaine, 4 overs, 1 for 30, economy of 7.5. Very tidy. John Smuts, 3 overs, 0 for 20. An economy of 6.67. Really tidy, but you cannot be backed up. Where we then entered, the match, the second last over, and Ndile Petlakwayo might have bowled what was probably the worst, I don't know how else to put it, the worst second last over I've ever seen. Like, ever. Pretorius had bowled before and didn't bowl a particularly good over. It went, the previous over had gone for 2 fours. One was very unlucky. And then I think it was 1 wide. So there's 4. So it went for 12. Previous over went for 12. I said one was very unlucky. Apart from that, it wasn't a brilliant over, okay? But then, Ndile Petlakwayo, the first ball of the over, bowls a no ball and gets hit for 6. To bowl that is absolutely unforgivable. And then has a decent recovery, and then bowls a wide. And this is my biggest problem with Ndile Petlakwayo, is that when it comes to death bowling, you cannot miss your line or miss your length. And we're always trying to see knuckleballs and out the back of the hand slower balls and all these variations, which when they work looks fine. But, you go and bowl over like that, and then to mark it, I mean, in the fourth ball, a waist high, again, full toss, clip for 6. And they win it like that. It was absolutely atrocious bowling from Petlakwayo, who finished with some terrible stats, and he deserved. I mean, he had a terrible game. To be back to the all-rounder, the primary all-rounder, to come in ahead of Dwayne Pretorius, to get caught on 0, and then to bowl like that, you shouldn't be there. You should not be playing the next T20. You should be dropped for a performance like that. You know, no wickets for 37 runs in 2.4 overs, an economy of 13.8. 4 sixes bowled off him, 2 wides and a no ball. You cannot bowl 3 extras. I mean, if you're bowling 6 overs, that's 18 balls. 18 balls. He didn't even bowl full 18. In 16 balls, he managed to bowl 3 extras. You cannot do that as a T20 bowler. And what was a series where players could have put their hand up for further selection and say, I deserve to be on the plane. You know, I think a performance like Petlakwayo's today kind of puts more doubt. You know, somebody like Luta Pamela also, I think, had an opportunity to try and put his hand up, but it was also too expensive this tour. And I think the only player who really cemented his place on the plane in the end of November is Tabraish Shamsi, who's been brilliant. Janama Milan had a very good innings in the first game, looked fairly solid today. Reza Hendricks did score some runs. Pretty much nothing too much to talk about from Heinrich Klaassen. A good innings from Pat from Bill yesterday, and a masterclass from Dave Miller. But a series, and we're going to break this down over the week, where it was all about South African players taking the opportunity to try and ensure they are in the talks for the end of the year World Cup. A lot of players just didn't take that opportunity, and once again, we leave a tour and a series with more questions than we have answers, the same as the Test series. It has been a terrible tour of Pakistan. We have been thoroughly outplayed, and it's back to the drawing board, just so we can welcome them back to our shores in a couple of weeks' time. And there has to be changes, and there has to be an improvement, because what we are seeing is not good enough. And the frustrating thing is what we are seeing is not good enough for the players that we have. There are certain players who are continue to underperform, and we need to make big decisions, whether it's dropping them, whether it's looking at how we're going to get the best out of them, sending them back to domestic cricket. There are certain players who are not performing well enough to keep their spot at the moment, and we've got to see changes. There need to be consequences from bad performances. You've got to start looking at youngsters. How can we build this team? Because if the older players aren't producing the results, why are we sticking with them? We will debate that in more detail over the week. Please do smash like on the video, subscribe to the channel. Let me know what you thought about the entire series and the game in the comments down below. My name is Steven, and I will chat to you soon.